Hey folks, Matt from Art of the Image. Just read a really interesting post, kind of humorous, on Thom Hogan's website. That's bythom.com if you want to check it out. bythom.com for those of you that aren't familiar with Thom Hogan. He is probably the #1 internet guru for Nikon. Him and maybe Born Roarslet are probably the two big ones. Anyways, it's a pretty funny post. The one is that I was looking at is "Time heals all internet complaints." And after reading it, I would term it "Time heals all D7000 internet complaints." And basically, he's saying he's gone over his statistics, his weekly stats that he's tracking for people writing him and complaining, saying my D7000 back focuses, my D7000 has hot pixels, my D7000 does this, does that. And he's basically saying that according to his stats, compared to 2 months ago, as of December 28th, the D7000 now overexposes 78% less than it did 2 months ago. It back focuses 70% less, and hot pixels are down an amazing 85%. And you're going, what the heck? How does this happen, right? And this is where it gets kind of funny, because Thom talks about this, how it comes out when any new camera comes out, people get it, and you get a rash of complaints in because they get the product, they rush out, they do a whole bunch of different tests that aren't really pertinent to photography, but they try to test it every way from Sunday, and in a whole bunch of situations that you would never use for shooting. And they're like, wait a minute, I found a test that showed that this problem exists, whereas meanwhile you would never ever see it using the camera the way it's meant to be used. As an example, he says let's see here, hot pixels being a problem on the D7000. He says not any that he's tested. He hasn't seen any himself, and Thom sees a lot of cameras. And he says that it tends to be at exposures longer than 1/15 of a second and shorter than 1 second at high ISO values. It can produce some minor hot pixels. I haven't seen any on my 7000, so I'm not saying they're not out there, but I tend to agree with Thom. I think it's a rare one. And then he says, when I ask people to provide me with an image that produces hot pixels for them, I mostly get ISO 6400, a half-second exposures at f11 of a lens cap. It's like, people, if you really try, you can replicate these type of problems on any camera. You just got to find the right settings. What Thom's saying here is, this stuff doesn't show up in real-world situations. You take your camera out shooting, you're not going to see it. And that's what's kind of funny. And so basically, he's saying he gets a huge rash of complaints with the first users of any camera. They rush out, they put it through all these tests, and then they post, oh, my D7000 overexposes, I get some hot pixels, and other things like this. When they encounter stuff that they don't really understand, they probably don't understand the product fully, don't know how to use it yet, and probably haven't even consulted the manual. So it's kind of interesting to see Thom. This article is a good read. You should head over and read it. And another one of the things he says, the interesting complaints that he's got, here are some real answers. The D7000 overexposes. He hasn't found one that does yet. Mine doesn't overexpose. Thom says that he thinks that the LCD is too bright, so people are mistaking that for overexposure, and he thinks the metering isn't as aggressive as older Nikon cameras, and he thinks so what it does is it's not bringing the highlight detail down in high contrast scenes. So then you're thinking that it's overexposing, and again, it's not. It's just a question of learning how to use your camera. We already went over the hot pixels. None that Thom's seen are a problem, and those that are, people are telling them, they're shooting some weird combination, f22 with your lens cap on or something, right? D7000 back focuses or front focuses. That's a tricky one. Thom says that too. A lot of times what's happening is the sensor in the D7000 is, the AF sensors are larger than in previous systems. So if you're taking a photo, you need to make absolutely sure that your picture that you're taking, that your camera is flat to the image. So if your camera's here and your image is here and your camera's off on a little bit of an angle, that is what's probably causing these back and front focus things, because you're getting it to the side or whatnot. So it's, again, it's more a question of learning how to use your camera. I can tell you the D7000 autofocus is fantastic. I love it. It's working great for me. I haven't had any problems, and that's what Tom's saying he's seen. So again, it's probably user error, or not so much user error, it's user error as a result of not having enough practice. You know, maybe people aren't getting out and shooting enough, as opposed to doing some camera testing and pixel peeping instead of using their camera for what it's meant for. So anyways, check it out at bythom.com. It's an interesting read. I thought it was kind of funny. Time heals all internet D7000 complaints. So thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll be back soon with some more articles on photography, some more video posts. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the world of photography. Thanks.